The candy has dropped.
Just the shot of like little candy. Hey YouTube, welcome back to our channel. My name is Elena.
And I'm Bjorn.
And we're Viking Age reenactors and living historians here to talk with you about your favorite Viking shows.
We are edging ever closer towards the season finale of Ragnarok. We're just about to start episode 5, and things are hopefully going to start coming together. Without further ado.
Vad ett monster, mamma.
So, last week we were talking about the Great Battle and our interpretation of it being Ragnarok, because that was the Great Battle. Someone in our comments actually brought this up, but I was also thinking about it myself as well at some point. What if that wasn't Ragnarok? The show is called Ragnarok, so what if the show is building up to what is actually Ragnarok?
According to the mythology, there are really two main wars that we know about. Of course, Ragnarok, the last war, and there's also kind of like the first war, which was between the Asir and the Vanir. Now, we could be referencing that war, but that would make no sense for the giants to take part in, because that was purely like a deity war, like a god war, essentially. Because it was the two sects, or the two clans of gods at war with each other. They were never able to, one take over the other, so they came to a truce. Speaking in terms of the mythology, those are the only ones that really come to mind, or that can really be like assumed at. But yeah, it could certainly just reference their, something else that we don't really know in their history or something. It just would make a little bit less sense to, I guess, to reference this war between them that, the viewer couldn't possibly know about because it wasn't like recorded. You know what I mean?
And that's very true. I mean, we do know that, the giants and the gods, they have a lot of strife between them, so who the heck knows, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much in every other story, there was always something going on between the gods and the giants. And a lot of it seemed to be, like, these various spats or feuds that could quickly bubble over and escalate into a war. And so they were, both sides were kind of quick to try and mitigate the damage and get a truce made so that it wouldn't escalate further. So it almost seems like they were always constantly on the brink of war. And then we're just like, no, please, let's find something else.
Of course, now they take it seriously.
It's still just dripping in the background. And just like on his bed. They recognize that the way you handle conflict is different based on who commits the conflict. So, them being these immortal warrior creatures, when they have conflict with mortals, with people, they follow the human code. They follow the human law to get, even and seek justice. But suddenly when they're dealing with a being that's akin to them, it's on the same level and, par with them, that is an older, ancient race, it suddenly reverts back to Nordic kind of old Viking way of going about law and order and stuff.
Yeah, like you killed one of ours, we're coming after you, or one of yours, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole essence that like creates the blood feud that we know about so much in the sagas.
Granted, he did take the smallest knife in that kitchen with for that.
It was pretty cute. And then she immediately just takes the larger knife, and I'm like, nice.
Ron mentioned 3,000 years. So now we know what age they are, obviously. When you're talking about Norse deities, you're more prone to say 1,000 years right now, because
it's when the Viking Age roughly. I mean, it's
was
rounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's roughly about when the Viking Age was. But when you really start thinking about it, like these deities would have existed way before the Viking Age.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, they didn't spring into existence in, 793.
Because it only makes sense, and because these beings, like we've talked about beforehand, the Jotun are a specific race. They're a species, essentially, just like the Vanir and just like the Aesir. And they would have existed for millennia. I don't know if we have any evidence of, people or mankind or Vikings or anything worshipping Jotun specifically. It certainly makes sense hypothetically that it could have happened, or even in the age before the Aesir and the Vanir, potentially the Jotun could have been worshipped as well as deities. And that's kind of what the show seems to be hinting at. We just don't really know fundamentally for sure. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of faith and of religion that we're completely mystified by, that we're still just trying to piece together as best we can.
Det är nostalgi. Det är inte som vi lever någon längre.
Did you see the Viking helmet?
No?
It's very simple. It's a very simplistic helmet. It's a nasal helm. It's just a nice touch.
Ulvene spiser sauene.
Ikke som beskytter de.
Så klarte du ikke å passe på venninnen din engang. Jeg vet hvem du er.
I mean, that's basically a spear, right?
It's a javelin, but yeah, pretty
Basically
much.
a spear.
Yeah. First off, I don't know why that girl was having so much trouble carrying a bunch of javelins. It's not that hard. But it creates a good dynamic or a good opportunity for them to discuss more of Thor's outlook. And I know it's not Thor, but
Magnus outlook.
the Thorson family. Yeah, exactly. Of, these people who are there to protect mankind. Thor was the guardian of man. Mm-hmm. So it only makes sense that him and his children and stuff would always kind of have this outlook of needing to be there to, as he said, protect the lambs from the wolves.
It's really interesting to me because Thor was, the protector of Midgard. Mm. And Magna here is kind of taking on that role little by little, as we're seeing he's starting to step up to that role, essentially. And the Jotuns, or the giants, in this case, are the opposite of that. They are the thing that Thor fought against. So it would kind of make sense that they're the ones that, are destroying the nature and going against humankind and everything like that. And it's interesting to me because when we first started watching this, we were talking about how it didn't make sense that, Vidar and the Jotuns would be destroying nature. Because in the mythology, as we know it, as we interpret it, essentially, they are the ones that are nature. They are, and especially Vidar, he is of nature. He is the taker of nature. So it didn't make as much sense. But now, as we're getting a little bit more into it and seeing the different sides and dichotomies of it, it kind of is starting to make a little bit more sense that they would be the ones that are wild and unpredictable and destructive.
Yeah, and reckless and stuff.
Nature is, whereas Magna is taking on his own, or his, Thor's father's, role in this entire thing, and he is protecting humankind from them.
Vet du hva kadmium er?
Kadmium. Et grunnstoff, tungmetall, atom nummer 48.
Er det farlig?
Det er veldig giftig. Jeg vil gjerne hjelpe deg, Magne. Det blir mellom oss to.
It's like she's his own, little chemist lab. How, police and
Gonna
FBI
bring this
will
down to
have
the
their,
lab.
their chemists.
I know, I'm waiting for a montage cut of her just running all the scans and wheeling around in her chair with some industrial music behind her or something.
The thing that I don't really get about it, though, is because if she is his teacher and he's coming to her with questions like this, shouldn't that be on her to be yes, come to my lab? Not in a weird way, but I will teach you how to find this stuff instead of just doing it myself.
I am the teacher. Let me teach. Yeah, that's fair. Who knows? Maybe the school system in Norway is very different than ours.
It also would have been, and this is purely just a screenwriting thing. It would have been better if at the very beginning of the season they had set up more of a relationship between him and this teacher.
Yeah, we haven't even seen them in class together, have we?
No, the only interactions that we've seen them have is him handing her the jacket for the blood samples.
And now this.
And now this.
Right, yeah.
That's the only thing we know of their relationship together, which is like student-teacher, sure, but like it would have been nicer for that relationship to be like set up a little bit more.
Yeah, for them to do like some weird like chemistry experiments or something with his, yeah, who knows.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Maybe he could have even seen like maybe they even like are running like their own blood samples, which is how he knows how to do it and how he learns, and he sees some weird shit with his own blood going on or something. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
They got a new tree stump.
It's one Thor punched down.
Fortell meg sannheten. Sannheten.
Jeg er forelsket i henne.
He gets his kicked by everybody, huh?
I was gonna say he's now been beaten up by 2 of his 3 family members.
Yeah, he's trying though. Are they like a thing? Like
So.
clearly they're like brother and sister discreetly, but like are they actually like a thing? Are they actually like a couple in secret or something?
I get the feeling that they might be.
Yeah, it seems like it's hinting at that a bit this time.
Kan ikke bevise noe mer.
Nei, kanskje ikke, men du har helt rett, Magne. Det er noe sjukt i denne byen.
Hey, you're right, but it doesn't matter.
Finn en annen.
So, according to the subtitles, her name is Winch.
Working title. I feel like they're keeping her a secret, obviously.
Yeah,
You know,
they
I'm
had
not
to
concerned
give
about it.
her they had to give her some kind of like a name
Yeah.
to go by,
They had to
but
put something in the script, yep.
yeah.
Han dolket meg i ryggen.
Magne, det er ingen som har dolket deg i ryggen.
Jo. Akkurat som deg.
A quick note, because a couple of weeks ago we had talked about the hero's journey, because the old lady said that the hero has set off on his journey. I feel like this is the part where the hero has faced his defeats and he feels like he can no longer go on and he's giving up on it. But that is only a prelude to his comeback and actual win.
I don't know, what would you consider like the magical item that he's gotten to increase his powers? Like, would it be any of the items that he got in terms of like the sample or the jacket or the laptop that have helped him like get the information he needs? Or would you consider it at the very, very, very beginning when he got his actual legitimate powers that set everything in motion?
I mean, I was going to say his powers, and he seems to be discovering more and more of those as he goes on as well.
Yeah.
Like, he recently discovered that he could heal very fast.
Yeah, you know, and it would make sense for it to be, you know, his, you know, the magical powers and stuff, because the seeress, the woman who gave it to him, in the very beginning, who kind of keeps ducking in and out and kind of just being there when he absolutely needs her, and then just, you know, piecing out for the rest of the stories, it very much takes on that like mentorly role. But then also, I mean, he has like several mentors. You know, he has Solvig, who's the one doing all the tests and is providing him that information and showing him that he is right. You know, that all the things that he believes and that he says is a fact, is the truth. He has Erik Isildur's father, who's constantly giving him these little, you know, quote-unquote magical items, you know, because technology is magical, but also they're further enhancing it and allowing him to get more insight into the truth of what's happening. So he could also be debatably a mentorly figure as well.
Du og Ran har blitt enige, og Fjord kan vel ikke være med. Han har fått en menneskekjæreste. Hun har vært her, og hun har vært inne på kontoret ditt.
The candy has dropped.
Just the shot of like little candy. I'm taking cinematography lessons from the show. Is what I'm doing.
Listen, I think it would have been better if it was like from the opposite angle, kind of like looking up at them. So it's like, you know, him laying there on the couch, close up on the hand and the bowl, her, Sakusa, like blurry in the background, and like the slow, like 60 frames per second, like drop into the bowl and like focus on the bowl and like clattering around like the ripple. That would have been better. Just wicked, wicked dramatic. He's 3,000 years old. He's never dealt with heartbreak. Sorry, had to get that out there.
They just had to make us care, didn't they?
Well, I was about to say, like, I really like his character's development so far. It's been really interesting. Like, I've literally hated him up until this episode.
Yeah.
Like, he's been such a conniving douche this whole entire time. And, like, it's taken literally up to this point to realize that, like, it hasn't all been a facade, but, like, he has legitimately kind of changed as, like, a character, which is really interesting because of her.
It started last episode, I feel like.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing, like, the full picture, and I'm just like, they just had to go and make us feel something for him. He has had a lot of really good character development, whereas the rest of his family has kind of stayed very level and true to who they are, which makes sense. They are several thousand old deities that have seen many a death and a birth, and they just, at that point, you don't care as much about life, I guess. I don't know exactly what you think about that once you've been alive for that long, but he is fundamentally changing as a human would change, as he is, you know, falling in love and feeling emotions and stuff like that, so it kind of makes you feel for him a little bit. Oh my god.
Jeg kan jo få lov å henge litt I lufta mens jeg går opp med litt mat til Magne.
Yikes.
I hate and love Loki. So much.
I mean, that seems to be the popular opinion of him.
Exactly. You know, it's like, I understand why he and Thor were such good friends. Because just the person who's just like, oh my god, shut the up. And he's like, but I'm right though, right? It's like, yes, but still, nope, you left. I have to pause on that because they've shown it a few times, but we haven't addressed it yet. So what that is it's stylized actually after these human sacrifices that predate the Vikings by thousands of years. And I think that's the point that they keep trying to really hit home, because pretty much every time that the Yutals have talked about how humans used to sacrifice to them and like worship them, they've kind of showcased that head or like similar features to it. So they're trying to show that it has a history that predates, you know, the Viking culture. But so that's stylized after the sacrificial bog bodies, essentially. And what would happen is these ancient civilizations from, you know, thousands of years BC, from like the Bronze Age, and even before sometimes, they would be ritually killed and sacrificed and thrown into the bogs. And because of the chemical balances in the soil and the bogs themselves, it would actually preserve the bodies and basically mummify them. But they're absolutely fascinating. It's really cool too, because the pH levels can vary so drastically in the same like collective area within the bog itself. So to the point where a body found, half of it can be completely skeletal or completely worn away, and then the other half can be so pristinely preserved, like they had the example of the head in that case. And it's just fascinating to me, because literally the same person can have aspects of them that are perfectly preserved and then aspects that are just melted away. And they're just really interesting aspects of the culture. Like some people were that we found were bound and killed ritualistically before their bodies were put in, and show other kind of signs of having their throats cut or something, and other people don't. You know, they think they might have been strangled or were completely willing. But I just wanted to point that out because it's not Viking at all. You know, it's not like an old Norse kind of thing that we often showcase and that we talk about. But it's much, much, much older. It's much more ancient.
Det kan godt hende at isen smelter, men da dør vi i hvert fall ikke av tørst. Ja, husk å drikke rikelig. Hot Hits I dag sponset av Jutul Industri.
Interesting wrap up of that.
It's one way to spin climate change, sure. It's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to that next week, seeing what actually happens in the follow through and what he's gonna do now that he found out the root of the contamination and everything. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the actual question is like, what is he going to do? What are they going to do? Is there going to be an actual face-off? What are the humans going to think? Like, what is actually going to happen?
Face off. We're gonna box it out. The boxing winner gets to make all the rules now.
Peter gets a small knife.
I'm curious to see how it's gonna end. It's been a really great show so far. It's been really interesting to kind of see how they spin the mythology and kind of how they use it to work for the story that they're kind of crafting around it, which is really cool. So yeah, I've got nothing but excitement for next week. Jesus, I'm trying to get everything out at once. It's just words are spilling out of my face hole and I can't get it organized yet. Okay. What a twist it would be if like Vidar and Magna are like in the midst of their epic showdown and then all of a sudden Ra just like bursts out of the sky. Like, what?
I need more wine. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of our future videos. And we will see you in the next one.